So what is the perfect job? I mean, I'm sure you've seen the title of this video, and I want to kind of look into that basically, and aspects of that. Now, um, obviously, we all have to work to survive, apart from the wealthy, which they're kind of exempt. Um, and obviously, I mean, when I say work to survive these days, it really is like we're working to survive, basically. Um, and it seems to be getting worse. Um, and people seem to be really fed up with the jobs as well. So that prompted the question with myself: what is the perfect job? So I thought I'd kind of look into it and have a little chat about that. So um, when I look back at myself with my working history, and I say that because that's the best reference point that I have to a lot of things. I've worked, well, my first choice was the armed forces, and I've worked as a builder, worked as a chef. I've also done warehouse work, shop work, and worked in the finance industry in an office for like the last 18 years. Then 4 years after that, working fully remotely. And now I'm looking to do a change as well of jobs. I'll tell you more about that if that's the case when that happens. But yeah, I've got another job lined up now, and it does make you think: what is the perfect job? Well, the thing is with jobs, and this is from my experience, they all have the pros and cons. Each job will have its good parts and it will have its bad parts. Might be the shift pattern that you're working with. Sometimes you might get somewhere where it's the people that you're working alongside or even the management that make you miserable basically with unrealistic expectations. Because, you know, in a lot of jobs, in most fields, most industries, you'll find that they have some sort of targets. Sometimes they call them KPIs, where they want you to adhere to those targets. And of course, you get some people that work there and they figure out ways to kind of achieve those targets without doing the work in some industries. In some industries it is possible, in some it isn't. You know, because you might have something where if you've got to move 500 bricks from here to there, and you've got three people moving them, you can clearly see who's moved the most bricks, kind of thing. But not everything's clear cut like that, especially if you get like office environments and things like that, um, because because they have to come up with ways of monitoring things which are not always ideal. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's like each job has its own pros and cons. It could be like that you're working long hours. It could be that you're working late in the day. It really does depend, and it depends on the individual as well, because some people might find one certain job terrible. Another person might find it quite bearable and quite enjoyable. It's just life. We're all different. And it's just realistically, it's just finding your peace. And, you know, I would say that if you was going to be one of those people that would get really upset about your job to the point of where, you know, you're complaining all the time, you're really upset, it's really getting you depressed and upset inside, then basically, you know, at that point, don't gripe or anything like that with even with the people you work with. Just look a job some elsewhere and then move on. And hopefully you may get something better. You can get a situation where you might go to something else and then you might basically look back and think, oh my God, I shot myself in the foot there. You know, that was a good job. You may have the opportunity to go back if that's the case. There's all sorts of things, you know, and I think that throughout all of our working lives, I think most people at some point will have a change of job. Um, you know, I wouldn't even use the word career because I'm not too keen on the word career. But but like but yeah, I would expect most people within the working life have done a few different things. Now, you may get some individuals that will stick with it and stick with the same thing all their life, and as long as they're happy with that, then that's fine. And that's another aspect with the jobs as well. If you're doing something that you enjoy, that can make a vast difference. And in order to find out that, you've got to do a bit of soul searching with yourself. Find out what you really like, find out what your passion is. If you like driving, look for a job driving. If you like cooking, look for a job cooking, etc. You know, if you like using tools, maybe you might want to enter the construction industry and get, you know, in one of those jobs. It really does, you know. And again, if you like, you know, using computers and talking on the phone and that, maybe think about an office or something like that, you know, or call center work or something like that. there's all sorts of different industries, and you don't really know till you try them, until you work them for a while. You don't really know how good they are, and how enjoyable it is. I mean, obviously, with every job, there's that element that it is a job, it is work, so it is going to be unenjoyable to some degree naturally because you have to do something. But obviously, if you're doing something that you actually like, then it's not as bad. I mean, I could use my own father as an example like that, because he did have different jobs throughout his working life, but towards the end, he spent a long time, a lot of years working as a gardener, and gardening was like his biggest passion in life. So for him, he was doing something that he enjoyed doing anyway. So, and he very much had that work ethic as well, where he actually enjoyed working, because maybe it added like value to his life. I'm not quite sure, in fairness, exactly what it was, but he liked to be working all the time. He was one of those people that had rarely sit down and catch a break. You know, he was always on the go. Um, so again, I mean, it's different attitudes. Not everybody's like that. Not everybody likes to graft. Some people like to take it easy because, let's face it, and let's be honest, literally everybody that does work is working because they have to work in order to get the money, in order to survive, and or get the things what they want. We're not there for the fun, really. It's not. It's not how it works with jobs, you know. We are there to work, and you have to understand that at all times, because I think it's easy to kind of work somewhere and take the mickey sometimes, basically, you know, and not work as hard as you should. And just some people can be unnecessarily immature, but it is a fine line, because a lot of companies will always say to you, "Oh, we want you to have fun, we want you to enjoy yourselves," but then it can be funny, because then if you do start to enjoy yourself a bit too much, that's when they clamp down on you, and you know, you're usually brought into disciplinaries or something like that. So it swings and roundabouts, and like I said, I mean, ultimately, I think the ultimate takeaway from this is that there is ultimately no ideal job, but hopefully, you know, if you've got to think, soul search yourself, look inside, think about what you like, and even try different things. And you know, you might get into a situation then where like you can find something what you like doing and enjoy doing. I mean, with myself, you know, I often think of like the younger generation. I have a 19-year-old son now, who's been in education, and he's about to enter the working industry. And I feel for them, because I can remember when I was that age, and you don't know exactly what you want to do at that age, because you're uncertain. You've gone through the education system, and you're just uncertain of what you want to do. You might have some ideas of what you like, but even when you start doing jobs, you might find out that you don't actually like that job, and then you want to do something else. I did when I was younger. I changed and did lots of things like that. And in a way, I'm kind of glad I did, because if you don't do, then you don't ever know. And fast forward like a good like 30 years, um, and now I'm nearly 50. The job that I was doing for the last 22 years recently got redundancy. There was a big change within the company. Another company took over, basically. So everybody that worked there, they give them the option of voluntary redundancy, or if they didn't get enough for voluntary redundancy, possible redundancy, or you could stay on in the job and go over and do the job, which, in fairness, a lot of us didn't think it was going to be as good, and we've possibly been proved right by that, but that doesn't really matter, because we're, we're not there anymore. Um, with me, I opted to go for voluntary redundancy, because, well, not only did I believe it wasn't going to go very well, but I thought, why not? Time for a change. It was one of the things that gives you that kick up the backside to to go and find something else. So that's what I've been doing. And again, I'll find out how it goes, and update you with the future videos. Hopefully it'll all go well. But it's a weird change after so long, I'll tell you. That's another bit of good advice that I'd give people as well. Always make sure that you have an up-to-date CV, and keep an eye on the job market and things like that, because even when that time comes when you need to apply for a new job, it changes. I mean, I was last applying for a job back in like 2002. Now it's 2025. Things have changed a lot. The majority of jobs are applied for online. The whole format of CVs is different to how it used to be. because a lot of these employers, they get the CVs sent via email, and they have intelligent systems that basically filter them out. So, you know, if for example, like it might be something where if the systems pick up on a CV with certain formatting and things like that, it, you know, they have systems that can scan and tell if it's been created with AI, because a lot of people will do that as like a cheat these days. But then these employers will have systems where they can actually check to find out if you've done it that way. And then there's the basic information in the CV. You know, everybody might put too much information in there, or they might have things which introduce a bias in there, yeah, which you don't do these days. So well, you would have kind of done that in the past. So there's all sorts of things, and even when you do create your CV, something which I've found as well is create your CV. And there's lots of videos on YouTube, by the way, with regards to CV information, which are very useful, which I've found helpful. But when you do create your CV and have your CV, it's good to send it off to lots of people for lots of vacancies and just see the response that you get back. I did one which had way too much in. Then I simplified it, cropped it down, keep it to a one-page format as well. You don't want it too long, because if it's too long and too much information, they've got a short spell to look at that and assess it. And you know, if it's going to be like a Bible for them to read, then they're just going to kind of not be interested. They're just going to think you know, all sorts of things about that. Whereas if it's a simple one-page thing with a few things that catch their interest, you know, that might be relevant to the job that you're applying for, then you might find you get a response. I mean, I did it with mine, and I've had I can't remember exactly how many applications I applied for. Probably in the region of about 10 or so. I had a couple of like knockbacks, you know, saying, you know, we're sorry, but we don't want it on this occasion. But then I've actually started to have quite a few come back. I think I've had at least about 5 come back. Well, there's 6 if I count the job that I applied for recently. But there's been at least 5 that have got back to me kind of unexpectedly, and got me through to the interview stage, which has been kind of weird, because now I've had to kind of reply back to them via email saying, you know, oh, you know, sorry about that. I've actually got another job now, so I won't be attending the interview. You know, do it as nicely as possible, you know, so that, and I've even got some nice emails back on the back of that, you know, wishing me luck in my new job and that, and thanking me for informing them. So it's very nice to just keep them in the loop, because you never know. You may need to even reapply for a job where you've applied if the job that you have doesn't work out. There's all kind of scenarios like that. But again, the reality of it is that we have to work for a living to maintain our lifestyles, and it's important to try and get something that's at least half bearable and doesn't depress you, because the same way with everything in life, your job shouldn't depress you. If you're in a relationship and things like that, that shouldn't depress you. If it does, then changes really need to be made. But yeah, that's my main onus, I think, on the job thing. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else, because I do these videos as kind of like a run and gun kind of video. So it's kind of, I like it like that because it's more kind of natural. I'm not reading a script or anything like that. I'm just kind of going for it as it is. And I hope you appreciate these videos. If you've got this far, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give it a like if you do like this video. That really helps. And you can subscribe if you want for more of my content. I am going to be doing more content going forwards, hopefully better content. I've got lots planned. I've just got to get into the practical application of doing it, and actually beat the procrastination and actually bother to make the videos and get them uploaded. Like I said, I hope you'll appreciate those. You can subscribe, like I said, as well, if you want to see more of those. I'll also put a video up here for you to check out, so you can see basically, you know, some of my other content. But apart from that, thanks for watching.